Championship points at the moment. Chris Hardwick is currently leading the way with 25 points. Second position is Matt Woolett with 22. Mark Winwood is in third with 20. Josh Banwell in fourth with 19. And the rounding up the top five is Matt Goodgescott with 18 points. Callum, how is the pole shootout going to go, do you think?
It's going to be very, very close. I mean, we had practice a few moments ago, and the top, well, it's the mid-pack battle, I think, is going to be the most exciting one. From 5th down to 12th, we had covered by 2.5, 3 tenths, so it's going to be really, really close. At the front, Josh Banwell, in practice at least, was fastest with a 1:18.48, with Matt Woolett not close behind on a quite close behind on a 1:18.5. So
yeah,
not that different at all. Everybody's just starting their qualifying, starting up laps now, getting the tyres warmed up and everything, and they're going to be on track pretty much on their own. Everybody's doing it at the same time, but there's no other cars on the track with them, so they can't have a tow off somebody else or a teammate or whatever. So it's purely just one lap shootout. If you get it wrong, you're going to be at the back. If you get it right, though, they will be starting from the front row of the grid. You'll see it's a rolling start as well, so there won't be any standing starts problems, because the cars actually are really highly geared. The first gig still goes up to about 80 mile an hour. So it's actually more exciting to do a rolling start than a standing start. So let's see how qualifying gets on. We'll have times coming through now. You can see the cars on track at the moment. So we're looking at one of the 130 racing cars. I believe that's Chris Hardwick, just going around the circuit now. So he'll be starting his car up to ready to go. And from this moment on, coming out of that final corner, you are pretty much flat all the way around the bowl, because obviously coming into turn one, you're going to be if you back off now, you're going to be slow across the line, and they'll be affecting your lap time massively. So really, they need to be flat out halfway around the last lap to make sure that their next lap is going to be absolutely spot on. So we've just seen Sean King there, a few others, Josh Banwell as well. So a few cars coming round then, and onto their laps they will go.
So it looks like Jason Eccles is the first one to actually cross the line. He's currently in 10th position, obviously, because they've not done any laps yet. But he is flying away. He's on the infield straight now. He's heading into the third right-hander, I believe, or the fourth right-hander. So we'll see him in a moment. But again, all drivers are roughly around the same part of the track. But purple sectors are coming in. Still going around. I think that was actually the fourth place car that's actually got the first purple sector.
Matt Goodgescott's actually got purple in sector 1 as well. So 28.1, and he's about a tenth clear of everybody else. So Matt Goodgescott at the moment looking like the man to beat, especially through the first sector. They'll be coming towards the sector 3 timing beam soon. I believe this is Jason Eccles we're looking at. Yep, it is. So he's just going around the last part of the circuit now, flat out around the bowl. Let's see what kind of time Jason can put in. We've also got Matt Woolett, who is purple through. Oh no, Josh Banwell's just gone purple through sector 2 as well. So it's going to be really, really tight. Jason Eccles crosses the line on 1:19.3, so about a second off Josh Banwell did in practice. Now Matt Goodgescott's gone pole, followed by Chris Hardwick on a 1:18.8. Josh Banwell does a 1:18.6 pretty much. So
there's Chris Hardwick.
He's got a few tenths on people at the moment. Chris Hardwick is second, with Matt Goodgescott then in third. We've got a few other people coming in. Chris Hardwick, Luke Austin just jumped up into third, so that's a great lap from Luke, who was ninth in first practice. So Luke jumps up into third, and that's the grid completed then. So Josh Banwell on the pole by a really good lap actually. Very good lap indeed. Then we got Chris Hardwick 3 tenths back. So Josh had a mega lap to put it 3 tenths ahead of everybody else. Luke Austin obviously starting from third position as well. He's going to be definitely one to watch. Matt Goodgescott only 16 thousandths off third place there in fourth position. Matt Woolett in fifth. Jason Eccles in sixth. Good show from him. Mark Winwood, he's going to be disappointed in seventh, with John Walker in eighth and Ben Brown in ninth. Chris Wilson in 10th. Dave Hedges in 11th. Colin Talbot in 12th. He'll be disappointed with that as well. Sean King as well disappointed with the 13th place, and then Daniel Hyde, a newcomer to the championship, in 14th. And still very, very, everybody's really close. The mid-pack battle is going to be extraordinary, I think, because we still got, from 7th position down to 12th so those 5 cars are only covered by 3 tenths, so it's going to be very, very close.
It's going to be a very close race at the start, and every time with Homestead Miami, it's always brought us really close racing. It's a fast, flowing circuit with a couple of tight corners, but I say the drivers love it. They all fly around this track, let's hope we just have a good start and they all stay within that slipstream area, because that will bring a fantastic race.
That is going to be the deciding factor of this race, who uses the tow most effectively and actually can save fuel, because these guys do have to pit for a fuel stop. They probably won't have to change tyres, but they definitely will have to fuel as part of this 45-minute race. And when you're sitting behind someone, if they're quick enough to just stay behind them, especially the leaders, it'll be worth just lifting and coasting behind the car in front of you, who's punching a big hole in the air for you to just drive straight through. So it's going to be very interesting to see who uses the tow to maximum efficiency and manage, maybe be able to stretch in another lap on their competitors in the fuel stops. And the fuel does take a long time. It's 1 second for every 2 litres of fuel that goes in.
Okay.
So it's a long time that you have to sit in the pit for the amount of fuel that you actually get. You could probably get it from the Shell garage just down the road a bit quicker than what you can do
do we reckon
this
that
session.
Some of the drivers are going to go for tyres, or most?
I highly doubt it. It costs too much time, I think. Especially, I was looking at the tyre wear in practice, and some people, it's not that bad really, because half of the section, especially the bowl, doesn't really burn your tyres up too much. There is a lot of right-handers on this track, a lot of fast right-handers. So that'll be burning out the front. Oh no, sorry, fast left-hander, which will be burning out the front right tyre. But still, looking in practice, we didn't see a lot of degradation on the tyres. So I definitely think hardly anybody's going to be pitting
with the same tyre throughout the race.
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, that's good. Well, looking at the qualifying orders in terms of championship points as well, Josh Branwell looking good. He's currently 4th in the championship, but qualifying pole for this, but he has got the championship leader Chris Hardwick just behind him. Chris, of course, winning season 1 and 2 championships.
Double back-to-back.
Double back-to-back. So, and of course he's leading.
Double back-to-back.
Double back-to-back. It makes no sense, does it?
That'd be 4 times.
We'll work for it. But
Matt Willett, I think, is the man who's going to be on a mission here today. He's looking very
really
fast.
Good. I mean, he's 2nd in the championship so far. He's qualified 5th, but he's definitely less than a second off the pace. I can't see the gap anymore. But really close at the front. I'm just hoping for a clean start.
I definitely think there will be.
Keep a clean start. It's going to be a brilliant race.
I do think it's going to be so close, because it always is here. We've done races in the USF season before, and these guys always have been very, very close going into turn 1. And normally we don't have too many send it moments, which I would normally
as you would class them. You're more the send it person.
I am the send it person.
Yeah. That's why you're not racing in this. That's why you're not racing in this.
But it's the way that turns 1 and 2 are set up. It is good to get a cutback, especially if you're on the outside of turn 1. It is completely flat coming off the bowl into the infield section. So to actually get the inside for turn 2, it's very close, but it can be done.
It is very, very tight through there, because you see how wide the oval is, and then they squeeze into that small area. And we've seen from practice, I went over there and had a look, and some of the drivers just running that little bit too wide, getting a rear tyre onto that grass, and then they just throw it off. And
Chris Hardwick actually did that.
I saw Josh Branwell do it as well. So that's going to be a bit interesting.
And that was only a 15-minute practice.
Yeah, it was. I'm sure Luke will love that in 3rd place. But let's say we're going into it fairly soon. I think the drivers are just getting seated now, but it will be a 45-minute race in total. Say they have got fuel usage, they've got tyre usage, but as we say, they're probably not going to go for the tyre swap because the dedication just isn't there. But definitely they will have to do at least 1 pit stop for fuel, and that is where it's going to be the clinching point for this race.
Absolutely, and we saw, especially at round 1 last time out, we saw a few drivers pitting early. And I think it was Dave Hedges was definitely one of them who pitted early and then tried to just bring themselves back up, because they got out the traffic, they didn't battle with anybody, did their own race, and ended up in quite a strong position come the end of the race. So we may see a few other drivers doing that this time around, just to try and break the traffic. But if you do come out of that group of starting cars, then you are not going to get any tow at all, and that could be worth over the length of the race quite a lot of time.
Definitely.
So I doubt we'll see it here as we did last time out at round 1. The cars are on the grid, I believe, so they'll just be starting their formation shortly.
Shap.
That's my list.
Formation lap.
Formation lap, starting around about now. So everybody's just starting off, coming out of the pit lane, getting all their tyres and brakes warm, ready for the start of the race. Obviously, there's no damage on, because in a 45-minute race, it would absolutely, if they did have an accident,
it'd be a definite race over, and that's not something these guys want. They want a good close race. You know, if they have damage, it's just going to make it a bit sad. So you can see the drivers now. They're just on their formation lap. They're just coming into the infield part of the Roval circuit here at Homestead Miami, course B. We're heading into one of the, what is this, the right-handers, I think, one of them, one of three right-handers now. You can see the safety car Corvette there. Currently looking at, I believe this is Chris Wilson we're looking at here.
No, this is Mark Winwood in the 130 racing car.
Oh, okay.
So down in 7th place. We've also got Jason Eccles there having a look at as well. Matt Woolett in 5th place. He's going to be one to look out for as well.
Mm-hmm. Definitely, there's a couple of slow cars off in the background there. What is that? Sean King, Daniel Hyde.
Yeah, there's a few people down the back. Just I think they were just taking their time warming it up.
Yeah. Oh no, it's Colin Talbot. Colin Talbot all the way down there in 12th position.
Ah, there we go.
There's Daniel Hyde.
There's Daniel Hyde. So then good to have Daniel joining us for round 2 of the championship then. And let's see how he gets on in his first USF 2000 race here at St Perez for the USSC Championship. So then Chris Hardwick will line up alongside Josh Banwell for the run into turn 1. Banwell's got the inside line into turn 1 as it is a left-hander, and then we've got Luke Austin as well on the inside with Matt Goodger-Scott on the outside. So it's going to be very interesting to watch. We'll keep our eyes on Matt Goodger-Scott in the Cam Sport, the white, orange and black car, and then you can see Luke Austin in the white and fretting yellow winged car on the right hand side of the screen. So 2x2 then. They're actually keeping quite spaced out because of turn 1 so tight. You don't want to go firing into the back of someone straight away, so everybody's keeping a nice distance between each other. We go green now, and it's a good start from Banwell actually. It's a good, a few lagging from the background. Mark Winwood not getting a good stop. Matt Goodger-Scott
Oh, big contact in the background there. A couple of cars off in the wall. Sorry, Callum, but huge
you're
crash
right.
there. Don't know who was involved there. I saw a couple of green cars.
Matt Woolett's involved. So our man from, I believe, started 5th place on the grid, now back down to 14th. So not a good start from him. Josh Banwell still leads the way though from Chris Hardwick, Luke Austin, and Matt Goodger-Scott, who we're watching on screen at the moment. Closely followed by Jason Eccles as well. So good start from the front there. It was a shame at the back. I'm not quite sure what happened there, but there was quite a lot of bunching as well. That was close for Eccles getting on the grass there, just in the braking zone. We're watching Ben Brown in the orange car getting a bit of a wiggle on the exit as well. Mark Winwood has actually made up some places thanks to that contact. He was dropping all the way down past 11th place, but managed to compose himself and get back up into 8th position.
And he looks like he's got the slipstream going into this hairpin here.
Yeah.
Has a look down the inside. Has he got the inside? I think he does.
Just about, yeah. So
holds on to it, yep. But now he's going to have that slipstream disadvantage now. They're side by side. They're not in a slipstream, and now the guys behind are going to catch up, and we can see it there. That looks like Colin Talbot now all over the back of them. Yeah,
it looks like Chris Wilson actually has got the better toe on Ben Brown, who's just ahead of these guys on the orange car there. So as they
here comes Talbot. He's got the slipstream now, and he's down the inside.
Yep. So let's see if Talbot can do a double overtake here. He'll go to the
don't
inside
go 3
of
wide,
Mark
boys. It's going to go wrong.
I definitely think it's a good idea though. As Colin Talbot looking to the inside, it's very close.
Squeezes contact, and Talbot into the wall. I did think it was going to happen. The track is so wide there, and you just don't think it's going to get that tight. But of course, they're just going to come into each other. The guys are shouting in the background. I'm sure Race Control will have a look at that, but I could see that happening a million miles away. Yeah, the move just didn't get enough overspeed there, unfortunately, for Colin and Chris Wilson. This is from the race start. So what happened here was just That's one of the DW.
Yeah, I think that's Jace. That's Dave Hedges. Sorry. Dave Hedges, so just tap
one of the Cam Sport cars. It looked like,
absolutely.
And then he threw it over, hit one of the other green cars, and got
just
it back
been a bit too nervous at the start, and not just keeping the wheel nice and straight. Had to kind of ping pong off other cars. And Dave Hedges now looking to make the move on John Walker for that 10th spot. So let's see if they can get the move done there. No, there was a bit of contact, and Dave Hedges. I'm not quite sure that was his fault. John I think just tapped into the side of him. We'll have to have a look there, but there's a few minor pieces of contact at the start. Luke Austin and Chris Hardwick still at the front with it seems to be pretty stable at the moment actually between the top four.
Does seem to be quite stable at the front, second between the top.
So yeah, unfortunately for that contact with Colin and Mark Winwood there, Colin went for a move there, but we did speak about turn 1 earlier, and unfortunately it just wasn't up the inside enough, and I don't really think that was Mark Winwood's fault, because he was taking his conventional line, and the car behind does have to make sure that they don't make contact with the other car. And thankfully, Mark Winwood didn't get spun around by that, because it was Colin who was making the move. So this is on board with Colin, in fact.
Okay. So let's talk through it. He's got the inside line.
He's got the toe. He could have stayed more to the right, so that's good. Now he's out the toe. He's accelerating fast, but he isn't quick enough. This part he should have backed off just here because he could see two cars coming into one. He knew they were there, and just sliding into the side of.
He's got
Mark
all
Winwood.
right to be there. But knowing the track, knowing that it's going to get tight, I just wouldn't have put the car there. I would have hang backed, waited for another opportunity to do it. I mean, he got a good recovery, I have to say. He got back onto the track. I mean, he's still 9th, only a couple of seconds down from Sean King in 8th place. So we'll just see how he gets on. You can see him there just at the front of the screen. But this is currently Dave Hedges we are looking at. Again, also with a good recovery after that massive crash at the start.
Yeah, absolutely, and it was very unfortunate. Colin did get a good recovery from that spin. It could have been an awful lot worse, as we saw to Chris Wilson, who's dropped all the way down to last place, and he was really the it's just such a hard corner, especially 3 going into 1 really doesn't go. If you had a good overspeed, but Mark, I don't know really where Colin expected Mark Winwood to go there. It's really unfortunate for Colin and for Chris, as they were really getting a good shift on there. So unfortunate for those guys. Battle for the lead, however, is down to a 1/10 of a second. So we'll try and get on board with Josh Banwell potentially as they're moving up the field. So we're looking at Jason Eccles now. This is a battle for the lead then. So this is Josh Banwell attacking Chris Hardwick then.
Well,
as they go into the braking zone, so
Chris Hardwick has got in front. Josh Banwell was leading the way, so Chris has got past Banwell at some point on the circuit. And of course, now we're coming back into this oval.
Banwell's going to come back.
Yeah, here we go. He's going to get the slipstream. He's going to be right into it now. He's going high.
Pulled out.
Yeah, he's going high now, and he's going to try and swing it back down. And that is a common tactic that you do see in oval racing, to try and use the gravity of the oval to bring it down, just to get a bit more speed. It does seem to have worked. He's in the slipstream now. He's pulled out the slipstream. He goes to the outside now for this corner. Let's see if it pays off. They're side by side across the line. Goes really wide, swings it in, doesn't make contact, boys.
Round the outside.
What a move. What a move by Banwell, round the outside into T1. Fantastic.
That was an absolutely stunning move. He timed that perfectly, and Chris Hardwick then definitely got the challenge on it. So they've got Matt Goodger-Scott on their tail as well, who's moved up from 4th position and took that place away from Luke Austin there. But Josh Banwell was a fantastic move. He really timed that to perfection, like as you said, Anthony. He just went all the way to the outside, used the momentum of the track to just reach himself around the outside, and it was very good. Who are we watching now then? I think this is Chris Hardwick. This is how Chris Hardwick got Josh past. Actually went off coming through turn 2, so that's exactly why.
So a mistake from Banwell then caused that, but he's got it back. But again, close battle. Here we go. Let's see if we can have this for 40 minutes. This would be excellent.
It would. And Chris Hardwick this is the problem here, because you want to be as close to the car in front as possible.
Yeah.
But you don't want to be too close. You lose the toe too early down the straight, and I think Chris has actually backed off here slightly, just so, like Josh before, gets a good run through the corner and then is able to power into turn 1, and that doesn't allow the car that's being overtaken to re-overtake the other car. So here we go then. This is a replay of last time around. So Josh swinging to the outside and then just using the momentum perfectly and getting the car through into turn 2. So nicely done there. We'll join back on board with the race leaders, and Chris Hardwick then back up the inside of Josh Banwell. Sorry, we missed that move there because we're watching the one that we've already seen, and Josh Banwell is denied that first position. Then he moves back in 2nd place. So let's see what Chris Hardwick can do to defend from Josh Banwell now then, as they come through the middle section of the circuit once again.
If I was Josh now, what I would be doing is, I know that I'm the same speed in the infield section. I know that I could overtake him on the oval section now, but you don't want to do that. You want to save the fuel. You want to stick behind him.
So this is the replay of what happened last time around, and basically Banwell in front, and Chris Hardwick goes to the. So Banwell defends to the outside, and that just opens up the door for Chris. He just sails through on the inside, I think. So easily enough done. Josh tries to send it back up the inside into turn 2, but doesn't manage to do so. We're back live now. And once again, these guys are battling as they go round
at it again.
And Josh is just a bit too close. He's had to actually duck out of the slipstream, and they will try and tuck back in now again. But it's awfully close as they come out of the bowl, and rounds complete another lap. This is the end of lap 6, going on to lap 7. and Chris Hardwick defending to the inside is just going to try and go around the outside again. He'll try and cut back to go and get the inside into turn 2. Doesn't manage to do it. Chris does go slightly wide though, and that's allowed Josh to get up the inside of him. There's going to be a bit of contact there as they go round turn 3, both sliding as they come out.
Boy, steady.
And then it looks like Chris will hang on to the position for the moment. So Chris Hardwick doing a good job there to fend off from Josh Banwell. Some cracking racing from these two. Josh again is attacking as Chris defends to the inside as they go towards turn 5 now. And Josh trying to get that cut back, and he's doing a superb job at getting the cut back, but Chris just seems to be putting the guy in the right place now as they go through turn 6 and almost onto the grass. Josh Banwell is extremely close there.
Really, really close racing from these guys. Banwell looks like he gets such a better exit. He takes a dive down the inside of Hardwick just before the oval section. It's good, but Hardwick gets the cutback. He brings it back, and it's Hardwick still back in the lead. They're side by side now as they enter onto the oval section. Now this is probably the worst place they could be in now.
They've got a 1,000-mile drag race.
Yeah, third place now is going to be like, oh, I've got a double slipstream now. I can take either one. Who's going to be better?
I think they're too far back. Chris is going to have the faster and shorter line as he's on the inside, so he will be ahead coming out of this corner, as you can see. So let's see if Josh can tuck into the strip here, and I still think they're side by side, so Josh is actually getting a bit of a side draft here, it looks like, and he's been able to power back through, but he's got to remember Chris is on the inside here. They're going to be very, very close through turn 1. There's contact, and Chris spins, and he's going to come across back onto the track again. Let's hope he doesn't get collected by any other cars. But Josh Banwell there
was collected there.
I think they got away with it though. It isn't too bad as Chris is still on the back. We'll have to jump back to a few cars to the battle just behind if we can, and see what's happening down there. Matt Goodge's now in second place.
I just had a feeling that was going to happen at some point. Those guys were tussling so close, and
the way Josh turned into turn 1, I thought definitely something's going to happen here.
It was there 2 different lines, wasn't there? You had one with the really wide, fast line, and one holding the tight inside line. And when they just came together, I knew it was going to happen at some point, and eventually it did happen. Hardwick looking down the inside of Matt Goodgescott, doesn't think about it, holds off. But now these guys are going to have a mega slipstream. But of course, Banwell's all on his own. But here's the move into turn 1. It's so close. It doesn't actually look like there's any contact. It just looks like Hardwick saw Banwell come so close in, overcorrected, and actually threw the car on the inside.
There was definitely a bit of contact from Banwell's side pod at least, and that upset Hardwick, and I don't think he's going to be too happy about that. It was quite an aggressive move around the outside, especially knowing that a car is there. But now we've got Matt Goodgescott defending from Chris Hardwick very, very strongly, and we've got Luke Austin just behind these guys. Luke Austin
down the inside.
Oh, very close, and Matt Goodgescott's going to go wide and onto the grass, and he's cost himself that second place, and he's spun as well. Oh, straight into the barriers. He's going to be so unhappy with that. Luke Austin takes second place now. So this is a very interesting camera angle here. So this is actually with Josh Banwell. This is
okay. This will show if there was any contact. Actually, this is a good angle. Actually, so let's see. So we're coming across the start-finish line now. We're going into turn 1. Banwell goes out, shot, comes back in really tight.
There was definitely
a bit of contact. Yeah, definitely a bit of contact there.
Yeah. So Josh Banwell now then leading the way by 3 seconds to Luke Austin and Chris Hardwick, who are going to have a fantastic battle now for second place. But really, what they need to do is work together to try and crawl back Josh Banwell and bring him back into the path. Obviously he hasn't got a tow, whereas them two, if they work together correctly, will be able to tow themselves back up to Josh Banwell, providing that they don't lose enough time, because you can gain up to half a second around the back end of the circuit. Speaking of teaming up, we've now got Colin Talbot and Matt Goodgescott, who unfortunately dropped down from that second place, are in 8th and 9th, so these guys need to work together to try and pull themselves up into the top 7 once again, with Ben Brown and Matt Woolett occupying those spots. Everybody's quite close up now. I think the closest battle we've got is probably for second place still, with Luke Austin and Chris Hardwick. So we'll try and join those guys once again, because that was a fantastic battle before it all kicked off, and it was going very well. I think a bit too aggressive from Banwell, as we've seen from his driving styles, as we've seen in many races here at Simply Race. He's one that you don't always want to go toe to toe with in a battle, because he will sometimes emerge the victor in not the most safest of fashion. We've got a car off there. That's Dave Hedges, I think.
Looks like he's coming into the pit lane.
Yeah,
sure what happened there.
I imagine he went off. He came off the bowl too quickly and spun, and ended up trying to go through the pit lane. I don't know if he's got a drive-through penalty, or if he's just pitting early like he did last time out. But
so he is running in 14th place at the moment, so he is at the back. But this is Luke Austin that we are watching now, you can see Josh Banwell off in the distance, and that is Chris Hardwick just behind. Now the gap between Luke Austin and Chris Hardwick from Josh Banwell is 3.6 seconds. Now that is the gap you want to keep an eye on. But these guys just don't seem to be in a slipstream working together. They're just a bit too far away. If I was Luke, I'd probably pull back a little bit, get Chris up to me, use our slipstream together to try and catch Banwell. And here's what's happened.
I think he just turned in a bit too early. That's that's Dave Hedges there.
Did it actually? Did he clip the wall?
I'm not quite sure, and I don't really know even where he's ended up. In fact, he's on the infield of the circuit. That's definitely not part of our.
I think we're going
track.
to the pit lane entrance now. Yeah.
Okay, so we just skipped across the gravel as well to get into the pit lane as quickly as possible.
Cheeky line, but it's worked. It's worked.
Hopefully, he didn't get a penalty when he entered the pit lane for going too quick either. Obviously, these cars don't have pit lane speed limiters.
There we go, a bit of a tongue twister.
It is definitely, when he got a bit of a cold, it's very hard to pronounce.
Oh, don't.
Then Josh, well, the gap is coming down from the lead, 3.3 now. So Luke Austin, what you said about backing up, I'm pretty sure Chris Hardwick is the man. If anybody, he's the double champion in USSC to close that gap to Luke Austin. He knows exactly what he's got to do. Josh Banwell is running away from it, but we did see last time when Josh was running in strong position, he either gets to the pit stops and puts too much fuel in, or forgets to turn off tyres and ends up dropping down the order. So let's see if Josh can hang on to this lead.
It looks like we've got a fairly interesting battle a bit further back for 5th and 6th place between Jason Eccles and Matt Woolett. They are quite close on the grid. Here we are. They've got a slipstream. It looks like that is Matt Woolett just behind Eccles there.
Yep.
He's pulled out the slipstream as we go across the start-finish line into turn 1. Who's going to take the inside line?
Now that's how you should do it.
Very close, boys, but it looks like Matt Woolett had that one.
Matt Woolett definitely got the move actually into turn 2 there, so he hung back for the moment and just made sure he wasn't too committed on the way in, and the big wiggle from Eccles as he gets through turns 3 and 4, but managed to get away with it. But that was a fantastic move from Woolett to move back up into 5th place after that dreadful start.
Yeah, and that's Sean King, you can see just in front of these guys as well, so he's going to become a part of this battle, I suspect, very soon, as Jason Eccles just slightly outbreaks himself there into one of the hairpins, and that's opened that gap up. So now we've got Woolett on King as they go into the final hairpin, as they enter now back onto the oval section. This is where you're going to see that slipstream effect come into play. He's right behind him now, so let's see. He should get a good move into turn 1 now. So let's see, Matt Woolett now just behind Sean King as they go onto the oval section, and of course they've unfortunately left Mr. Jason Eccles behind there. But here we go, onto the oval. Good camera angle there.
Very good camera angles. We ride on board with Sean King then in the newly blue-styled Cam Sport car. Woolett's moving to the inside then to try and get the run into turn 1. He's already pretty much passed him before they get to turn 1, and through he goes. So Sean King there just letting him go, I think, and just lifting off slightly, making sure he doesn't have any more contact. And Matt Woolett then taking that place once again, moving up into 4th place. So a good showing from him, moving back through the field as they accelerate through the road section of this oval circuit. So then it's Josh Banwell who's actually moved the gap out to 5 seconds now. So I wonder what's happening to the top 2nd and 3rd places, because it was 3.6 or so, it's now 5 seconds. So I wonder if Luke Austin and Chris Hardwick have moved out of a position or a potential racing incident. Okay then, so we're just getting confirmation from race control that they're reviewing Mark Winwood and Colin's incident earlier on in the race as well. Dave Hedges getting a penalty, which we saw him coming into the pits for, and Chris Hardwick was a racing incident as well. That was between Josh Banwell. So all decided, pretty much all racing incidents. I don't think there's any more penalties. Dave Hedges obviously got one.
I think Dave Hedges is more. You've cut half the track. I think it's definitely a well-deserved penalty, even though he is in last place. It seems unfair, but again, you can't skip out half the track. You need to get on kind of where you've come off. So
absolutely. And anything can happen in these races. We've got still the battle for 2nd place rating, but you can't just, if you throw it off, you can't just skip half the track to try and regain it. It's just unfair on the other competitors. Chris Hardwick, very late on the brakes. and almost into the back of Luke Austin, but he doesn't almost need to send
Luke
it.
With a wiggle, really bad exit from Luke there, and Chris Hardwick sails past him. So Chris Hardwick's now got in front. Luke's going to have the slipstream now as they go onto the oval section.
May have been a tactical move, but I doubt it as they come into the last section of the road circuit and now out onto the oval. Chris Hardwick will have to fend very, very well indeed to keep Luke Austin at bay then as they come round the back straight on the circuit, and then they'll go round the loop approaching 140 miles an hour. So as these guys come through the back section then and full throttle on the gas all the way down here, they'll be watching their fuel just draining as they come down this long straight. We've got Luke Austin going to the outside looking to make the move on Chris Hardwick, may be able to get the cut back, and it's very close. He does actually almost manages to do it. It was looking like he was just going to absolutely send it down the inside, but the braking area is so small, and you lose so much tarmac going into that section that it's very, very narrow indeed. So you can go 2x2 as we've seen, but more often than not you end up with two cars just tapping each other, and as the way with Formula cars, as we saw with Vettel at Monza and everywhere else that he's spun at this year, it's very, very easy to just tangle with these cars, and because they're so long, and the wheelbase, they just easily spin around. So there's not much
much you can do.
Correcting them, really.
Exactly. Well, we saw from race control as well that the penalty for Dave Hedges, I believe, was actually for contact with Matt Wood at some point, not for skipping out half the track. I'd probably gone for one with skipping half the track, but we'll brush past that.
We'll let him off for that one, really.
He was last place.
But unfortunately for Dave, it's not going his way so far. So it's Josh Banwell now on lap 15. We're nearly halfway through the race as well. We've got 25 minutes left of this 45-minute race. Josh Banwell now 6.6 out in front, so it's looking like, for the moment at least, he's doing the best job out there. Actually,
looked like he made a mistake there.
It looked like he was going off at turn. Well, yeah, he definitely did, because he's lost about a second from the guys in second place. So,
but I have to say, he's still opened up a massive gap, even though those two are working together with a slipstream, and Josh hasn't got it.
Absolutely, but there's no real need to also push as hard as what he looked like he was doing there into turn two. Obviously, he needs to start conserving his fuel and tyre life quite excessively, otherwise he's going to come back and bite him at the end of the race. And the man behind him as well, who knows it all too well, Chris Hardwick, our double reigning champion, and he's going to be looking to try and close that gap back up again. You'll see the gap has come down to Banwell, so we know he's made a mistake somewhere on the track, but for the moment at least, the gap's coming down towards the 5-second mark once again, after being out at 6.5.
I mean, looking at the lap times, I don't know if it's just Chris Hardwick, Luca looking after their fuel. I mean, their times are more than about half a second slower than Banwell. Yeah, if Banwell's still pushing, he is pushing still quite hard, isn't he? So he's going to find himself near the fuel window
very soon.
Not a lot of fuel left, and he's going to have to pit really early. And we've got Luke looking to the inside.
Going to the inside road. He's actually on the flat bit before the bowl ended, and he's trying to try and make the move up the inside of Chris Hardwick. They tangle once again, and that was so close between them two. And Chris Hardwick there being very forceful, just shoving Luke Austin out of the way. That was a fantastic piece of racing from both those drivers to make sure they did not make any further contact. But there was definitely a bit of
argy-bargy in that one.
A bit of argy-bargy there.
I do hope that race control look at that, because do you know what? I think I would say Chris Hardwick would have to give that one back.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Because I reckon Luke had the position. Luke got it, and then there was contact. It pushed Luke wide, and then Hardwick was back down the inside. I think Hardwick should give the position back.
I disagree. I think it was a touring car style move for cars that you wouldn't do a touring car style move in. But still, it was dare I say, fair racing, because Luke Austin, I think he's trying to send it back down the inside of Chris Hardwick, but he's just got to be patient and wait for this section again. He can try and make that move on Chris once again. He is definitely close enough. This is the replay from last time then, so let's run through it again. So Luke goes off the circuit here, mind you. The white lines define the racetrack.
I will agree with that. He does go off. But he has got the position now, and he's getting tapped on the back. That's a front to rear contact into the corner.
No, but I still think that it was very, very close between them two. An absolute as close as you can get. But if anything, he just pushed him more forwards and didn't actually. It did upset his rhythm. But Luke Austin again not close enough to defend this time around. But It did upset Luke's rhythm, but I do think it was a fair move, to be fair.
Well, anyone watching the stream, do comment. Let us know what you think. We'd love to hear from you. So let's see as we go round. But Chris Hardwick's still in second place, and Austin's still behind him. And Banwell has just gone. But here we go again. Hardwick very defensive. Austin down the outside. Is he going to try and get the cut back? Doesn't look like he's got it. No, so he's going to stick behind him. We've got another infield straight here, so it's a good opportunity to get that slipstream, get it tucked in. We'll see what they're doing. They stay in that slipstream.
That was very impressive from Chris, actually, to make the apex of that corner. They braked at the same point, but Chris was about 2 metres closer to the inside line of the original line you should really take for that corner. So it's quite good for him to actually get to the apex, and then Luke, to get the drive out of the corner that he did. So on board with Luke Austin now then in third place, and he's got the slipstream a tiny bit too early, if anything, so he's going to go high round the bowl, and let's see if he can get any side draft or use the gravity to his effect then. So he ducks back down using the inertia of the bowl, but still not close enough. He really needs to get in the slipstream now and then move to the outside if he wants to overtake, but still side by side almost they go through turn one, and not this time. They have to drop back, and look who's behind, Matt Woolett, who's moved all the way up after having that collision at the start.
Looking at the stream, we've got a couple of comments from Chris here. Woolett for second place by the end of the race, I wonder. What do you think to that?
I definitely think it's going to be close between these three. We can't really decide at the moment. There must be the pit window is definitely going to be open soon. We've already seen potentially a few cars pit. I think Dave Hedges might have made a stop as well as having that penalty as well.
Yes.
Meaning he's a lap down. But yes, I do think that. Well, Banwell's absolutely driven away at the moment. He's 7.5 seconds up the road. No need to make any silly mistakes at that stage. He just needs to keep a cool head, and the race is his for the moment, as it seems. But anything can happen. We saw him into turn 2 earlier, just as we cut away to have a look at him. But very close indeed between these three drivers now. Matt Woolett is going to have the best slipstream of them all, I think, as they come around the bowl section. Luke Austin will be getting a tow off Chris Hardwick, and Matt Woolett will be getting a tow off Luke Austin. So let's see as they come around the bowl then. You can actually see the speed on the wheel. These cars normally, without any tow, get around 135 through here. We're already up at 140, so we may even see 150 as they come through towards turn 1 then. 147 miles an hour as they come through turn 1, side by side with Luke Austin and Chris Hardwick. Luke braking very, very late, and Chris Hardwick misses the apex but gets away with it. You can see how smooth Matt Woolett is on the wheel as well as they go through turns 3 and 4.
Matt's just probably watching this thinking, they're going to make a mistake at some point.
Absolutely, and
he's going to be right there to take control of the situation and move up into second place.
Absolutely. We've got a few cars in the pit lane. We've got Josh Banwell, in fact, the leader of the race as well. There's a bit of a wiggle there from Matt Woolett. So Chris Hardwick then inherits the lead of the race with Luke Austin. So you can see how much fuel Josh Banwell was using.
He's caned it, hasn't he? We can also see on the stream as well, Mark Winwood also pitted early.
Who's this into the pit lane? And
it's not iRacing.
No, it's definitely not iRacing.
The cars aren't invisible.
No, you can't drive through the cars, mind you. And that's one of the Camp Sport cars. I'm guessing that was Sean King driving into the race leader, Josh Banwell, whilst
luckily, no damage. So the cars are going to be absolutely fine.
Luckily for Josh, he didn't actually throw the car out of his box.
That'd have been.
But that was very, very clumsy from whoever was in
Here
that
we
go.
Car. Everyone's pitting now. Let's see who has the quicker stop. The strategy of how much fuel am I going to need? Who's done the calculations? Who's going to get out first?
Absolutely.
So this is another replay from another angle.
Yep. Oh, this is okay. So
is this a drive-through?
No. So this is what happened again. Is that a different car? That's a different car. So that's Colin. Chris Wilson also. So 2 Cam Sport cars. Why is everybody
driving? There is carnage in the pit lane.
Okay, this is very, very strange indeed. I'm not sure if cars can actually see each other
cars
in the pit lane. This is something that we haven't seen before here at the Ussc. As they come through the pit lane, all the cars seem to be crashing into each other. Ben Brown, in fact, has not pitted yet. It's probably just as well he hasn't, because he's actually ended up leading the race at the moment. But I'm completely unaware of what's happened there.
I think a quiet pit lane's good. So I think Mark Winwood and Banwell have actually got away with this. They pitted early. They've had a quiet pit lane. they've got through it. Those guys with a busy pit lane, they couldn't get into their boxes.
Absolutely, unless the cars must have ghosted in the pit lane because everybody's on top of each other at the moment as they're trying to get into their pit boxes, and cars are still knocking about in the pit lane. It's very, very strange. It's a turn of events.
Here comes Ben Brown
coming off the pole.
I think that's a mistake. Ben, well. Do another lap. Don't go in the pits. It's carnage.
I think it's actually clear now. He's definitely clear now. But it's very strange coming into pit lane. He almost lost it. He came off the bowl really, really early, and because the car's so low, obviously you're going from a bold section to a flat section. But very, very strange situation here to happen in the pit lane with everybody playing bumper cars as he comes into pit for his stop then, his probably only stop of the race. We've got 16 minutes left on the clock, and Josh Banwell is now leading. Matt Woolett has got out in what effectively will be second place. Okay, so just getting a few confirmations from race control there, just saying no further action taken on the incident we saw earlier. Ben Brown then still in the pit lane. Josh Banwell will inherit the lead of the race. We'll see him fly through turn 1 any second now. There he goes. Good timing. Matt Woolett in second place. There we go. So come Matt Woolett now. 2 seconds back off Josh Banwell, so he's made up a lot of time
here.
Thanks to that, the weirdest pit stop phase we've ever seen here at Simply Race. That's a new one for the books.
I have to say, and Chris on the chat knows a lot more than we do, apparently, about positions.
Okay, so
we're still looking at Ben Brown here. He's on the infield section. The gap from Josh Banwell down to Matt Woolett still is just fluctuating now, just below the 2-second mark. We'll see how they go in terms of slipstreaming around the circuit. But Callum, what have you just found out there?
We were just having a look at why there were so many incidents on track. It seems that the drivers were told that they couldn't see the cars ahead of them in the pit lane, so just be careful coming in. Yeah. But they must have seen them come in anyway. I'm not sure. We'll have to investigate more on that pit lane situation. But for now, it's Josh Banwell still leading after the pit stop phase then. So it has shuffled around quite a lot then. We've got a few Chris Hardwick was the big loser. He's down in 10th place now. So behind Mark Winwood, who was down and out at the start of this race. So the 130 Racing team really not having a good time here at Miami. So we'll have to try and get back onto terms with them. And there was smoke coming from another car going down into the bowl as well, which is a strange one. So we'll keep an eye on that. As Josh Banwell still leads there. Mark Woolett in second place. Let's see if he can catch Josh Banwell and challenge for the lead in the last 15 minutes of this race. Luke Austin, sorry, in third place with Ben Brown in fourth. So interesting from him. There's a lock up there from Jason Eccles as he challenges Matt Goodger-Scott, in fact, in the Cam Sport car for 7th place.
Ooh, Matt getting very loose at the back there.
It was, yeah, getting a big wiggle, and the tyre life maybe starting to hurt them, especially through the infield section at this stage in the race. So they'll be trying to manage it for the last 14 minutes or so. But we've got a nice battle for 2 Cam Sport cars just ahead of them as well. We've got Sean King and Colin Talbot in 5th and 6th. So Colin's actually benefited from this as well.
Yeah,
quite a lot. We've got Cam Sport cars in 5th, 6th and 7th places. So Colin then, after having a bit of a nightmare start, as well as making contact with Mark Winwood earlier on in the race, has found himself up in 5th position. So a crazy turn of events in this USSC Simply Race series here, round 2.
But still flying around. Times at the moment still roughly staying the same. Matt Woolett is actually, his last lap was a 10th faster than Josh Banwell. You can see that relevant to the times. They're now fluctuating 1.7, 1.8 seconds now. It was 1.9 earlier. It's still a close battle between these 2 Cam Sport cars of King and Talbot as they come into the first sector. They'll be coming onto the straight shortly to end the first sector, going into sector 2, but still very close. Don't want to take each other out though, do they? Definitely. No,
absolutely not. Especially
King doesn't want to take out Talbot. Definitely not. They're teammates.
Especially with the car behind them as well, being also the same team. You don't want to collect them as well. So these guys should be working together and just realising they don't need to battle so hard. And this will be good for their team championship points as well. But Josh Banwell still leading the way, and looks like he's going to take maximum points from this round 2.
Woolett's gap to Banwell is now down to 1.5 seconds.
So
he's definitely catching. The sector times are also, they're
very
relevant.
similar.
Yeah, they're very similar. Looks like Matt Willett is slower in Sector 1. Sector 2, however, Matt is quite a lot faster, 0.2 faster, going into Sector 3.
And he was quicker in Sector 3
much
as well.
They're pretty much identical, but Matt Willett is actually faster still. So going around, you can see the gap on my little timing screen on my laptop here, that the gap is closing, the cars are getting closer. We're going to look at them now. Here they are on screen. So that is Matt Willett we are looking at now. Going into one of the hairpins on the infield section. Banwell going slightly wide there. Willett holding quite tight line. Let's see what the gap is as they come round. But Willett definitely catching on Banwell. Everyone seems to have settled into the race. It is still quite close between 5th, 6th, 7th and 8th. They're in kind of their own two little battles, but they're still close to each other. I believe that is the Cam Sport cars. Yeah, that's Colin Talbot, Sean King, Matt Scott and Jason Eccles having a close battle there. But your man we're watching at the moment, Matt Willett, he's on the oval section now as they come round into the final corner. Gap now 1.6 seconds, so it looks like he lost a bit of time there. But again, it was faster in, or it actually was a lot slower in Sector 1 that last lap. 0.4 slower in Sector 1 and 0.3 faster in Sector 2. So that's where he's lost the time. So if he's going to make a move, it's definitely going to be in the latter part of the track. He's definitely not strong through turns 1. Absolutely,
and we can see another battle, nice little battle here between the two Cam Sport cars. This is Sean King and Matt Scott, I believe. So, oh no, it might be Colin Talbot and and Sean King getting ahead of Colin Talbot actually, but a lock up from Sean, and they make contact, and that's really not good between those guys. They don't want to be making contact, they want to be working with each other, not against each other, and that's leaving them clawing back into the clutches of Matt Scott. So we've got a three-way Cam Sport battle. These guys really need to think about team tactics and sort themselves out and actually work with each other instead of against.
I think they need some team bonding sessions.
Sean was going pretty aggressive on that on that defensive move to keep Colin at bay as they went through turn 1, but Colin still holding stern in 5th position, and there will be a bit of pride between this team as well. So Colin's actually defending. I think they'll be enjoying this race now that they probably know they can't catch the 8 seconds up to Ben Brown. So Colin defending quite nicely, they can work together, and this is on board with Colin last time around. You can actually see Sean just going out of shot on the right hand side in the mirror, and as they go through turn 1, it's very close. Sean went around the outside, and then Colin braked nice and steady and just made a tiny bit of contact.
I did think King braked early there.
He did, and he should have just backed off a tiny bit more.
Yeah, so you saw Talbot there make the move quite cleanly there. It didn't miss the apex and didn't run wide. But here we go again. Smoke, engine overheating from King's car. That's probably the smoke that we saw earlier. That's what happens if you stay in the slipstream. There's contact between the teammates. Steady on, guys. Your teammates, and here comes Scott down the inside of turn 1. Is he going to take both of them? No, he doesn't. He just takes King.
Oh, no,
there's contact, and they've all made contact with each other.
No,
guys, you're all in a team. Stop it. And now Eccles is right behind them. Eccles is going to excel from this contact between the Cam Sport team. Guys, steady on. Oh, dear. Yeah. King's getting loose again, and Eccles has taken the position from King. Blimey, what do you make of that?
I didn't really know what was going on there. I think just Sean King was just being a tiny bit too aggressive with Colin Talbot still, but going into turn 1, you just got to lay off at 0.2 or so just to make sure you don't make contact. They were absolutely firing it in, giving it 110%. And yes, this race is coming to an end, but Sean King's ended up costing himself 2 places, and Matt Scott is now the one who's benefiting from this. Brakes very late on the back of Colin Talbot, and he has a big oversteer moment as well, so he's going to lie back. But let's have a look. So Sean King then trying to make the move. Look, he's so close to Colin when Colin's clearly defending. He's still trying to go to the inside when there's clearly just no room whatsoever. Matt Scott playing it nice and safe, and Colin gets a big tank tapper all on his own. Matt did actually very, very well there to just keep out of trouble as much as he could. We've still got smoke coming from the back of Jason Eccles' car as it overheats slightly as he's still in the tow. We've got the battle between Colin and Matt Scott. It's going to be very difficult to tell who's who with these guys. They break into turn 1. Matt Scott gets a tap from Jason Eccles, who brakes way, way too late into turn 2, and Sean King unfortunately getting held up there as well. And very displeased with that, as Jason Eccles then just braking way too late for turn 2. He was lucky that Colin was there to actually stop him before going off the circuit and losing all their places. But these Camsport cars battling, you look at the two 130 racing cars, they were miles back before.
Yeah, and they've just closed up. These guys are really costing themselves time here.
Yeah.
I don't think there's going to be a good team talk.
I mean,
after this.
It was 6 seconds back from Colin to Ben Brown. It's now 10 seconds. So these guys really cost themselves quite a lot of time.
Well, here's the Eccles incident with one of the other Camsport cars.
Yeah, so Eccles will probably be getting a distant toe back here, not too much, doing a 2.35 k's, which is about right. Comes into turn 1, brakes like 20 metres later than the other two cars.
So much later.
Taps the back of Matt Scott. Thankfully gets away with it. See, Sean King tried to go up the inside of Eccles. Why didn't he just go all the way to the outside and go around the outside of him? I'm not really sure. Obviously, had to make a quick decision there and took the wrong one. But again, these guys, these guys,
steady on. You're in a team. You're in a team. Stop doing that.
Wow, they're so close. They're battling so hard. And Colin once again defending quite well. Matt Scott, perfect move up the inside there, getting the switchback, and Colin's going to have to let him go. I think he goes round the inside and takes Colin's place away from him. There's going to be contact between Eccles. No, they just fend it off. But we're going to have the two 130 racing boys joining this battle as well to make it a 6-car battle. And it's going to be very interesting for the mid-pack. Still, Josh Banwell's doing a good job to keep it there, and Sean King still not happy with Jason Eccles' driving, it sounds by the noise in the background. But it has calmed, well, I would say it's calmed down, but it hasn't calmed down whatsoever.
I think it's escalating more and more. The gap between Matt Woolett and Josh Banwell actually for the lead is down to 1.2 seconds, so Woolett's still catching, but 5 minutes left of the race. These guys, this is all going to... it's all going to end in tears. I think it already has ended in tears, but they're all concertinaed up now. They're all in the slipstream. They're all going to go. And where are the two 130 racing cars? Are they right behind now? That still doesn't look like they're in the slipstream.
Not
but here
just
comes
yet.
King on Eccles. He goes up quite high. Is he going to bring it back down?
We'll have to see as they just come out of
there
shot.
We go.
Yes, they're all still quite close together. We got two battles, so I think Matt Scott is going to be the one that's defending from Colin. Colin goes to the inside, try and get the move down on the inside. They make contact, and that was so close once again. And
there's more contact.
Do make contact. Eccles has gone as well in the background, and Sean King.
I think Eccles lost out there.
Yep. So Chris Hardwick actually moves up 2 spots there, and not sure what's happened with the other cars. As we're still looking at the ones ahead. Eccles is ahead of Winwood, and then Sean King as well after that. I wonder if we can get an on board with Sean King. I think that'll be the best way to go about it.
I think that's going to be a good way of going about it, yeah, but that was...
Oh dear, it was just out of shot there as we were watching the battle between the two Camsport cars. That was insanely close. We'll try and get an on board from the T-bar of Sean King. I think that'll be one that gives us the best angle of what actually happened with everything going on behind. Or maybe even one of the 130 racing cars might show us a bit more light, maybe from Mark Winwood. So Mike's just bringing that up. So this is on board with...
This is one of the 130 racing
cars.
Yeah, okay. Chris
so
Hardwick.
You can actually see Chris defending really, really hard. You can see the smoke from the other cars, all that. But yeah, so Eccles, Sean moved to the inside and then tagged Eccles, and then those two just ended up just tagging with each other. So it didn't actually cost the 130 racing boys any chance at all there. They're very lucky to avoid it now. As we got
here we go. There's some action. And there's a spin. There's contact. And is that Hardwick?
It is Hardwick against Colin Talbot.
And Eccles going wide as well.
He's going to go off the circuit most definitely. So everybody's...
Oh no, he's
actually kept it on. I'm surprised how he's done that. And 130 racing also. I think that's Mark Winwood.
That's King on Eccles.
Yeah, sorry.
And then that was that Winwood that was involved there? Yeah, it was. So that was Winwood
on Eccles, and then Sean King trying to benefit from Eccles as well. And Sean King makes a move up the inside. We got a replay of what happened between these two. So Hardwick
inside.
Just look at now. The move wasn't on.
There was no space there, was there?
I don't know why he went for that move.
Yeah, that's not what you'd expect to see from the championship leader, was it?
No, absolutely not. No, it was Mark Winwood, in fact. So and also someone going up the inside of Eccles going into that corner as well. So we'll try and regain that battle that we can see just up ahead of these guys, and if we could do that, that'd be great. So there we go. In fact, so Eccles then on Chris Hardwick, our championship leader. Eccles moves to the outside, and Hardwick just has not had the best of races, has he? The gap at the front, for those who still interested in Josh Banwell and Mark Matt Woollett, they're pretty much identical on pace, as we've got Eccles now looking to the outside of Mark Winwood. Then let's see what happens into turn 1. Are they both going to give each other lots of room? Not really, but they get away with it. Hardwick's still up the inside, perfect move from Hardwick.
No,
that's how to do it. And
too soon. Eccles with the power on. Remember, late in the race, your tyres are cold, or not cold, you know, your tyres are spent, really.
Tyres are gone, yeah.
Tyres are gone, and you've put the power on. He was wide as well. Just a bit too eager there.
Eccles really has not done himself a lot of favours in this race. He's just been far too aggressive, along with Sean King, and that's cost themselves massively. You see Sean making a move up the inside of Eccles there, and then getting on the power, exactly the same as what Eccles did, and into the barrier he went as well. So that's why Sean King is now down in 9th place after showing so much promise at the start. One person who has kept out of trouble and done a fantastic job is Luke Austin, in fact. So,
3rd place, Luke Austin. He's had a really good race.
This is Eccles with Chris Hardwick.
Chris going for a gap that isn't there.
He did back off, to be fair. He was on the grass and he did just leave off the throttle, but Eccles just... he did, to be fair, put himself in the right bit of road there, and Chris went onto the grass. So
we saw the rules. We heard the brief before the race. You can come off the racing line once and rejoin the racing line once. That's all you can do, and that's what we've just seen there. And
but it's the car behind that's dictating the pace. Now you can see.
This is Eccles again, yeah. So this was when he spanned. So runs wide, puts the power on, spins the back end round, dosh into the wall. Yeah,
and race ruined for him then. And hasn't been great for Sean King, Chris Hardwick, Mark Winwood. Collins actually benefited from the carnage slightly and moved up into 6th position. Ben Brown as well, one that's been keeping out of trouble.
And we're going to be coming on to the final lap shortly as well. First and second are on the oval part of the track. There is 30 seconds remaining of the session. They'll get their last lap. They've gone across the line. So this is now final lap. It is all down now to Matt Woollett. Can he gain that final 1.2 seconds in this lap? Can Josh Branwell hold his nerve and keep it clean and get round this final lap without making a mistake?
Tell you what, if Matt Woollett is really, seriously fast through the middle bit of this lap, he may be able to challenge Josh, but at the moment he wouldn't be getting an effective enough tow to challenge down towards the line for the finished. But it's been a very, very strong race from Banwell, considering he had that trouble in the pit stops. I think who didn't have a trouble in the pit stops. I think Ben Brown potentially got away with it pretty well, along with Matt Woollett. I saw Matt did have a problem, but it wasn't as extensive as everybody else's. That just shows how quick.
We did say as well that Banwell did pit quite early. He used all his fuel and he pitted a lap before the other guys did, and of course that's when the trouble started. But here we go. We're onto the oval part of the track now. Here's Banwell. He's still got the gap. It doesn't look like Matt Woolett's going to do it. It's plain sailing here now for Josh Banwell to take round 2 win for the United States Sprint Championship here at Homestead Miami. As he crosses the line, there's the checkered flag. Very well done to Josh Banwell, then Matt Woollett. Here comes Luke Austin now. He's on the oval part all by himself. A very consistent, calm, controlled race by Luke Austin here, taking 3rd place, the final spot of the podium. Well done. And then Ben Brown, definitely, what a race as well. What a race from Ben Brown.
One of his top results here, Ben Brown, in the USSC United States Sprint Cup Championship here at Simply Race. He comes through to take a very well-deserved 4th position, and very, very good indeed. Penalties we're just hearing may be issued retrospectively between King and Talbot after those incidents, but the Campsport team didn't do themselves a lot of favours here today, as Matt Good-Scott finishes in 5th, with Colin Talbot and Mark Winwood just coming across the line almost together there in 6th and 7th place. Chris Hardwick coming home in 8th as well. Sean King, we can just see, in 9th place with his engine slightly overheating with all the smoke coming out of the back of it. Didn't do himself many favours today. Chris Wilson coming home in 10th place as well, so not a great showing from those Campsport teams. You can just see Eccles coming into the pit lane. Eccles was just coming off the track there into the pit lane. Not sure what was happening there. We've got a few other cars still coming round, so I think this is potentially John Walker just making his way around the back end of the circuit to take his 12th spot. So that was probably the most one of the most entertaining races we've ever had at USSA. We didn't really have a lap where there wasn't a lot action happening, which is fantastic, which is always what we like to see. There was quite a lot of contact, which how many times we tell the drivers just don't make contact.
Don't make contact. Especially between your teammates.
Absolutely.
Your teammates, what are you doing? We're definitely going to have a word with them. But the podium presentation will be very shortly. Don't know if we're going to live stream that. We are. We've had a yes from that. But if you want to get involved in the